If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
And good morning, and I have uno, dos, tres this morning, all three of us on. So anyway, I have JP Barnes,
Good morning.
Barnes Safety and Consulting, and he's the sponsor of the show. Thank you for being a sponsor of the show as well. And I have Lieutenant Seepman back with us this morning to talk to us about a case. We'll get started into that, but I do want to say that we do have the hotline number up, 406-6736, and what this is all about is you listening very carefully to the cases and the details of the cases, and you calling with a tip. If you know anything, no tip is too small.
That's correct.
Is that right?
The smallest piece of information could be that one piece we're missing.
The most insignificant thing, that people think, well, I don't know, that car just drove by. I mean, they were just probably, that's not important. But it is important, because that could be the car.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's important for you to call if you know anything about any of these cases that we talk about on this program. So, case number one.
We're in 2015 for this case, December 27th, right after Christmas. Demond Rashawn Batts, 24 years old, walking on East Virginia Street around 11:40 in the morning, and shots were fired. The police get a call and respond to the shots fired and find him on the sidewalk laying there, and he succumbs to his wounds. There were 15 shell casings were located on scene. He was struck multiple times. This is a shot from the intersection that's closest to this, because it's a pretty good distance from each intersection, but it's Virginia Street and Hunter Street. Hunter Street is just before you get to the schools, Parker and Baskerville.
Okay.
And then if you're facing back towards town from Parker and Baskerville, that's the shot right there on the left-hand side of the road. The cemetery is on the right-hand side of that picture, and that sidewalk is where he was found.
Right there?
Right there.
Wow.
The Martin Luther King Park is on the left-hand side of that photo. If you're facing that direction, to your left would be Martin Luther King Park.
Okay. And it's so important, isn't it, Lieutenant, to show geographics, because it can jar something in your memory.
Lindell picked on me for my street signs, but people, when you got a pair of streets you're talking about, it gives you a cross street so you know your exact reference point.
Absolutely, absolutely. So anybody that knows anything, give the name again.
Demond Rashawn Batts, born in 91. He was 24 years old in 2015. So anybody that has any potential information, vehicle description, potential suspects, we got a lot of street information back then and tracked down those leads, but nothing was able to pan out at this time. So.
Wow. So found on the sidewalk that you saw, let's show that again. On the sidewalk, right there.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King Park is in close proximity right there.
Yeah.
Parker School, a lot of you know where Parker School is. And what'd you say, Braswell? Baskerville
Elementary.
School.
Those schools are in that photo, down towards the end of the photo, and right and left. Parker's on the left and Baskerville's on the right.
Okay, all right. So, as I said, 406-6736. And I want to say that we do pay out up to $15,000 is the reward. So what happens is we get the tip, we give it to the authorities, whether it be Nash, Edgecombe, Rocky Mount, and they let us know how valuable that tip was. And you get an amount of money, and I can tell you firsthand, because I write the checks, that you get paid immediately, folks. You get paid usually within 48 hours, but I will tell you, 2 of them we have paid out in 24 hours. So that's pretty strong. You do get your money. You do get your money. So a little cash for you right there. Okay, case number 2.
We're going to review a case, Rafiq Sufan, also known as Sammy, in the neighborhood, Old Wilson Road. He was shot and killed back in 2011 as he was closing his store. Thought it might be a robbery, but he did have some money on him at the time that he was killed, and he was found in the doorway of his store. He did fire back at the assailant, and we don't know if he hit or anybody because we never were able to locate any potential suspects on that.
Yeah, this was the store that right there in the V where Cokie Road goes this way, Old Wilson Road goes this way, and it's sitting right there on the corner by the railroad track, the store. And I understood that he was just a heck of a nice gentleman.
He had been quite a pillar in the community of that neighborhood. Everybody knew him. Everybody loved him. So
and he was able to shoot back. Well, anyway, and don't know if he hit.
Yeah, we don't know if anybody was hit during that. We heard that somebody was shot, but we never found anybody that was actually shot that we could link to that.
Right. All right. So we definitely want, again, you to listen up to that and call 406-6736 if you know anything about that case, or if you knew. So give his name one more time.
This one is Rafiq Sufan, Sammy, and then Damon Batts is the other gentleman that we covered this morning.
Okay, so they called him Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think he inherited the name from the store because the store was Sammy's before.
That's what I understood.
They just kept calling him Sammy. So.
Right. I think that's what I understood. I think the previous owner was Sammy Evans, they said. So anyway, all right. Very good. Well, again, you'll be back the
Thursday.
Third. You come the third.
Thursday.
Okay. You come the third week. Yes. In the month. So we'll have you back to talk more about 2 more cases.
2 more cases.
All right. We'll be right back with you right after this.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
Okay, and welcome back. You have me and JP this morning. We have talked about this book a little bit, but we decided to do another little fundraiser because obviously if we want to continue paying out JP, we've got to have funds. Right. So, and we have paid out 3 times, so we know we've got to replenish the funds. And we had a wonderful fundraiser at Don Bullock Chevrolet. But we wanted to do a little bit more, and this doesn't make you the most money in the world, but it added to the pot. It really did. So we have, I want to show this book, this Team Cold Case booklet. And if you can get your hands on one, and I will tell you, if you want one, come and see me. Come and see me or call me. And I'll be happy to put one in your hand. But it is unsolved murders, missing cases, and we say in the I-95, I-87 corridor, Nash, Edgecombe, Wilson, and Halifax counties. So, and it gives our tip line, and anybody that picks it up will get all of our information. And we have cases in here. And, you know, my husband picked it up, and I was trying to talk to him, and I looked, and he's reading this book so intently. He said, I love this. He said, this is interesting. And he was asking me about the cases and things like that. So maybe this, too, could spur some tips. Yeah. You know, it really could. So, anyway, I'm going to talk about a couple of the cases in the book this morning that we have talked about. There's one case that we have not talked about yet on the show, but I'm going to talk about it this morning from the book, and that is the Magdalene Puckett case. She was home with her mother, Aggie Robertson, 81 at the time. She was 81 at the time, at 906 Clark Street in Rocky Mount, when 4 suspects, 4 folks, just think about 4 suspects, broke in through a kitchen window in the middle of the night. The suspects sexually assaulted and beat Magdalene Puckett and left her for dead. Her mother was also beaten, but she was able to, and from what I heard, I think they thought she was dead too, but she wasn't.
Okay.
But they beat her, and she was, it says she was not able to give descriptions because at that age she was all to pieces.
Right,
you know,
I'm sure.
You have to understand she was just torn all to pieces. So she didn't remember any descriptions, and I can totally understand that, of course. So police believe the suspects intended robbery, but were surprised to find Robertson and Puckett. Neighbors initially thought that Puckett had died of natural causes and started to clean up the crime scene. When they walked in, I guess they only saw her and thought she just died of you know, as it said, natural causes.
And one would think that.
Yeah, you would think that.
Yeah.
So, and then they realized that a crime had been committed, but the evidence was compromised. I think some of the evidence was cleaned up or something. In 1996, Robertson passed away. She was the mother that lived at the time. She passed away. She was the only witness in the crime. However, over the years, suspects have been developed in this case, and just a little more evidence will result in arrest. So that's interesting. So if that was the only two, those 2 folks were the only 2 people in the house, and the mother was the only witness because the daughter passed away, then there had to be tips.
got
to the
to be.
police. There had to be somebody that knew that they were going to the house or did go to the house and did this, and somebody had to have ratted out. So anyway, they're saying that there are suspects.
I'm sure. And a lot of times, people who commit these violent crimes, they go back and they like to brag about it. They like to tell their friend, their cousin, to look bigger than what they really are. So I guarantee you, somebody somewhere knows something about this case.
I guarantee you. And the law enforcement always tells us that, people know, somebody knows something about every single case. Somebody knows something. So I believe it's your duty, if you know, if you witness, if you, I understand being scared, but you know what? That number right there is completely anonymous. It's completely anonymous. They're not going to know who you are. And even when we give you the money, you're given a number. And when we give you the money, only one person does that. So it is anonymous. So
Terrible crime.
It is
81 years old.
yes, terrible. This was it was on July the 8th, 1990. So it was let's see, 21 years ago?
28.
20. Yes. July 8th, 1990 is when it was. So it's been quite a while. I mean, I think this is the police department's oldest case.
Wow.
I think that's what Siegman said. So we're gonna ask the police department about this case and see what else they might have, about this.
I'd like to see all of them solved, but this one right here,
Yes.
I would really like to see somebody brought to justice. That is violent.
It is violent. It is very violent. 4 people in the house. I mean, you don't even want to think about it. You really don't. So, yes, you are right. So that's in the book. That's in the book. So if you get that, if you get the book, then you will be able to read about that one and many other cases in here. Now we're going to be talking about Baby John Nash coming up. That'll be one of the cases. I'm not going to do that one today. That has been an interest in the community that they have spoken to us about. People have called me about why can't they, people knew the girl was pregnant. So we're going to let Lieutenant Siegman talk about that a little bit more coming up when maybe when he comes back next month, because there has been a lot of interest in that case. Also in the book is, I'm just going through randomly because there's many more. Let's see, Alton Harper. I remember Lyndall talking about this one. Alton Lee Harper, who was 57 years old at the time, was staying at his daughter's boyfriend's residence at 4817 Crate Myrtle Street in Brattleboro when his daughter heard glass breaking. When she investigated the sound, she found an unknown suspect had entered the home and was pointing a gun at her father, demanding money. The daughter complied with the robber and gave him an undisclosed amount of money. She reported that her father left the residence and attempted to follow the suspect. No, don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. Who had led on foot. She then called police at 1 a.m. So, and the victim returned to the residence as police were interviewing his daughter. The report described the victim as being very excited, breathing heavily. Further stated it was difficult to understand the responses to the officer's questions. The victim was heard to yell out loud and fell to the floor in the kitchen area of the residence. This is the one Lyndall talked about. They thought he had a heart attack, but it's still murder.
It is.
It's still
Felony murder rule.
That's really, now tell me about that. Do you know anything about it?
Basically, the felony murder rule is if a felony is being committed. If I'm standing in a convenience store and the convenience store is robbed at gunpoint and I fall over with a heart attack.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
felony murder rule applies. That suspect can actually be charged with murder because it led to me having a medical emergency
I
as a
wouldn't have had a
result.
heart attack otherwise.
Felony murder rule in North Carolina.
Wow. That is a great rule.
It is.
Because, shoot, I don't know what I would do if I was witnessing something like that. I know I would get very scared. I hope I wouldn't have a heart attack, but who knows? You know, it's very scary. So the autopsy examination confirmed the presence of significant cardiovascular disease as well as pulmonary disease. No significant injuries were identified. The patient experienced severe cardiovascular stress initiated by the criminal episode in which he witnessed the home invasion by an armed intruder who threatened him and his daughter with death to accomplish a robbery. So, you know, I guess the man was thinking, he took off after him, which never do that, people.
No.
Don't do it. And, you know, I guess the poor man is thinking, my money, my life savings, my money, you know, and just trying to, and that's pitiful, but, you know, money can be replaced.
Absolutely.
You cannot. So that was unfortunate to me. That was a very unfortunate case.
And that was where?
That
Battleboro.
was Battleboro. Crepe Myrtle Street, 4817 Crepe Myrtle Street in Battleboro.
Terrible.
So, let's see, we'll pick out. Now, this is Sammy. He's in the book that we just talked about with the lieutenant. Now, we just talked about not long ago the Jermaine Latrey Flowers, 20 years old, killed in a shooting, 737 Sunset Avenue in Rocky Mount around 11:30 p.m. Jermaine was in the home, which was accompanied by 15 other people at the time. One other person was injured in the shooting. Per the police report, 13 rounds were fired into the home. Wow. Several bullet holes were found in the walls of the home, and glass from broken windows was scattered on the floor. An unknown male between 5 feet 8 inches and 5 feet 10 inches tall and was wearing a blue shirt, dark pants, was seen running from the area toward Western Avenue. You know where Western Avenue is. It runs right behind Sunset, kind of.
15 people. I guarantee you, somebody in those 15 know details about this case that could solve it today.
Yeah.
Today.
15 people, you know, somebody.
They know a detail that could solve that.
Oh, dear. Please. It is anonymous. We beg you. Okay. Let's see. We're fine right now. We're not going to break for another few minutes, so we'll talk about another couple of these before we go to break. Now, this is one that I just know they can solve this crime. I know they can. This was one of our first ones way back. Hoy Jefferson Cobb. In other words, he was called Jeff Cobb. Everybody knew him as Jeff Cobb. He was a pillar in the community. Everybody knew him. He owned the property where Walmart is today. It was the Cobb Farm. His family owned that farm. And,
wasn't he a county commissioner?
He was a county commissioner. So, like I said, very popular. You know, a lot of folks knew him. This happened in 2014. Hoy Jefferson Cobb, Jr., 75, found dead in his residence on Jeffries Court in Rocky Mount. He died of multiple stab wounds to the chest, according to the death certificate. There was an open package of condoms on the bedside table. A woman's hair tie was found on the floor of the bedroom, according to an investigation report. Cobb had an acute amount of alcohol in his system, and his stomach was full of a retinged fluid with a sweet odor, according to the autopsy's toxicology report. What does that mean?
Probably wine or something like that.
So wine would be the sweet.
Yes.
Yeah. Many have speculated that Cobb Cobb picked up a lady, and the boyfriend or husband found out and killed him. And the reason they think this is because, a lot of people have speculated. I think he had a lot of women. I think this wasn't the first rodeo with him picking up a woman and taking them to his house. So he was known for that, they said. So, at first they said one of those women got him.
Jealousy.
Well, he was drug into the garage.
And I know absolutely nothing about this case other than what I just read. And as a law enforcement officer, what jumps out at me is the number of times that he was stabbed in the chest. Okay, rage.
Right.
That is rage.
Yeah.
That's not a random act of violence.
Exactly.
So somebody's another lover maybe, and I'm just speculating.
Right.
A husband, a boyfriend. Rage was involved during that attack.
See, Jeff Cobb was a big man. He was big. So how could a female drag him out there to the garage? That's what I'm wondering. I'm thinking the male too. They're starting to think now. They're saying the police department is even thinking a male, I think, because I was talking to one of the officers and he said, I think we're thinking a male because he was a big man and it would and the rage,
Well, if he had any size to him at
somebody's
all,
girlfriend.
a typical female tried to assault you with a knife. The average man could somewhat block it.
Yes.
Stop it. However, when you involve another large man and you have anger involved and rage build up, that's where my money's at.
Yeah,
And again, I know
exactly.
nothing about the case.
Well, one thing I brought up, JP, was a knife. Okay, but this is so perplexing to me because if you go in there with the intent to kill, you're going there because you have found out that your girlfriend is there. Are you going to carry a knife?
It depends.
You don't carry
What
a
if you're a
gun.
convicted felon and you don't have possession of a firearm?
Right.
You don't know anyone. You'd have to borrow it from someone. So then someone else is going to know your business. So you're not going to ask to borrow a gun. You're not going to run the risk of stealing one from someone. So you're going to use what you have, and that is a knife. Everybody has a knife in their kitchen. And again, I don't know that it was a knife. It could have been a
I
pair
don't
of
think
scissors.
it was a
could have
knife
been.
in this case. That's
Okay.
what made me think that. I'm trying to retract. I believe it was like a screwdriver.
Could have been something he picked up
That's
in
what I
his
was
work
gonna say.
truck, inside the car,
Yeah,
inside this
exactly.
gentleman's garage.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it was perplexing, to me, but then again, so I just wish they could solve this case. I really wish they could solve this case. And somebody knows where that girl that was with him that night, he frequented, what's that, Gators. That Gators is the nightclub here in Rocky Mount.
Okay.
I think
I'm
it's still
unfamiliar.
open. I think it's still open. But anyway, I think that's probably where he picked the girl up, I think, because he was always going there and leaving there with ladies. And anyway, so I don't know. But I wish
It
they-
says here a lady. Do they know? Do you have any evidence as to who the young lady was?
I don't know. That's interesting.
Because you find her,
Yeah,
you've got your suspect.
that's right.
She can point them out.
Yeah, and
It's
I don't
going to be a
think they know.
boyfriend. It's going to be a husband. It's going to be an ex-lover.
Right.
But
But I don't think they know who she is. They don't.
Gotcha.
But the thing is,
well, if they've
if
got
they
her
were at
hair,
Gators,
they've got her hair bonnet or that thing.
Yeah.
They've got her DNA.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just a matter of time.
Because DNA back then, the lieutenant and a bunch of the law enforcement people that I've talked to, we are really getting advanced in DNA now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, but this was 2014. I don't know how advanced they were. That wasn't that long ago. But they're really saying now that there have been advances, and because of the advanced DNA now, they have come up with something else that's trying to help them with this case. They feel like they're going to, and it might be that bonnet that you're talking about, that they're talking about. But if the girl was at gate or somebody saw her leave, somebody knew she was there with friends or something, and they knew she left with him. So why don't somebody come forward? So anyway, wish we could solve that case. I wish, as you said earlier, I wish we could solve them all. I really do. So anyway, well, it's time to go to break. Then we got to do weather. So we'll be right back with Sir Fred.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
And thank you, Fred, for that information. We've come up with another. We're just flipping through the book just to let you know what's in it. You definitely want to pick this book up in case you're just tuning in. There it is. It's a nice read, and now I want you to know that we're going to do book number 2 also. We couldn't get all the cases in this book, so we're going to do another one in a few months, book number 2, with some more cases. Please know that. All right, we're going to do, now you've heard about this one if you've been watching. If you're a new viewer, listen to this one. You'll really like this one. Linda Williams Lawrence. This is a sad case because her daughter does contact us, and closure, folks, that's the word. The families need closure. 6/13/96, Linda Williams Lawrence left a private swimming pool in the High Meadows neighborhood of Rocky Mount at 8:30 p.m. You know, you remember over in High Meadows, which is right down Gold Rock Road. You know where Gold Rock Road is when you leave here. It's right down there. High Meadows had a swimming pool, and I think they might still have it. I'm not sure if they do. But anyway, and she frequented the swimming pool because she lived out there. So, and she was never seen or heard from since that day, on June 13th, 1996. She was 45 years old at the time and had a butterfly tattoo on her left hip. She was wearing a pink bathing suit, black t-shirt, white sandals, her black and silver full-size 1984 Ford pickup she was driving was found at Meadowbrook Park. I mean, way across town. Golly day. Meadowbrook Park is way over there in Edgecombe County. With the keys and her personal belongings still inside. Police found no signs of foul play in the truck, but Linda was never seen again. She's just missing. A main theory has been that Linda and a friend owed money to someone, and that person took her life, and the friend has been silent according to archives regarding this case.
Wow.
Isn't that sad?
That's terrible.
So she apparently owed somebody money. I think they said she sometimes borrowed money, and they think she borrowed money, and there you go. Never to be seen again. And her daughter is very, of course, upset and has been waiting for, can you imagine? She said, I can't sleep. Well, do you know how many years ago that's been? 96? I mean, that's terrible. For you to, not get closure and not even know. She said, I just want to know where she is or where her body is. That's all, so that I can know, so I can get closure. But anyway, truck was found. She was never found. And her belongings were still in the truck. So anyway, that's a very interesting case too.
Here's one from Middlesex, down in my neck of the woods.
Oh, okay.
Travis Lynch.
Oh, boy.
Wow, that's...
Nash County has just tried and tried and tried and tried. Read that one again, because that one is very intriguing.
Well, I'm going to have to make a disclosure. I don't have my
Okay, that's
my
fine.
glasses.
I'll read it. Travis Lynch, let's see.
It was
Let me see.
same page.
Oh, I skipped over too fast. Okay, Travis Lynch was the case, folks. I know y'all remember. Last seen on Christmas Eve 2003, he had been drinking heavily at a friend's house, and he and his girlfriend, Carlisha Whitley, went to her house on Claude Lewis Road in Middlesex so he could sober up. He was last seen leaving her home at 1 a.m. Trying to get to his own home on Glendale Drive in Wilson. Lynch was supposed to call Carlisha when he arrived, but he never did. She called his mother to ask if he had gotten home. When Travis's family members went to Middlesex to ask about him, they weren't allowed inside. His mother reported him missing on December 26th. He has never been heard from again. His car, a white 1992 Pontiac Grand Am with the North Carolina license plate number RZS 4814, has never been found. A photo of a similar car is posted with the case summary, which is, it shows it. If you get the book, it shows the car at the bottom. Lynch had purchased the vehicle just the day before he went missing, after his previous car was damaged in a crash, and he was very happy with it. 4 months after Lynch disappeared, a mobile home owned by Carlisha's family was destroyed in 2 fires. The residence, which was on Stony Hill Church Road near Bailey, did not have electricity at the time. It initially caught fire on April 23, 2004, but didn't completely burn down. A few days later, there was another fire at the home which destroyed it. The home was occupied by Sean Fonte Whitley at the time of the fires. He is currently serving a term in federal prison for unrelated drug offenses and is due to be released in 2021, which is any time. Investigators believe the fires were suspicious but stopped short of ruling them arson. They think the fires may have been related to Lynch's disappearance. It's uncharacteristic of Lynch to leave without warning. He has a violent temper, and investigators theorize he got into a physical altercation with someone that resulted in his death. His case remains unsolved. Speculation is that his vehicle was crushed in a salvage yard in an attempt to destroy evidence. There are people of interest in the case, and witnesses are coming forward, and arrests will be made in this case. Well, that's good to hear too. I feel like we're on the brink of some arrest. I mean, that is so exciting, that we might bring closure to that family as well, because I believe, what's her name with the Nash County Sheriff's Department?
Misty Strickland.
Misty Strickland has had constant communication with this family. She goes out to eat with them. I mean, she has become almost a family member of this family.
Well, these arsons in this article,
Right,
the home did not have power,
right,
and it burned twice. That
Right.
was sending the family a message that is, don't cooperate with this investigation. That's all that was. And that's sad. Intimidation. I guarantee you, there are some family and some friends or some people in this community that know the details to this case. I would agree. I didn't know the car was thought to have been crushed, but as you were reading along, that's where my mind went to.
yeah,
I could see that scenario. And probably if you could find that car wherever it's at,
Yeah. But they have looked and looked and looked and looked.
It's probably already been
Misty
melted.
saying it had to have been crushed. I mean, that car is long gone.
Yeah.
It had to be because
buried.
or buried or something. What do they do? How do you bury? I mean, I guess you
well,
just.
I mean, in my neck of the woods, everybody's got a backhoe.
Yeah.
So if you've got access to a farm or a
You
friend
just-
with a farm, you just go,
Yeah.
bury the car. Somebody will find it 100 years from now.
Yeah, right. So it's speculated, in this case, they think, and I think when Misty came, she said this, but it's speculated that the girlfriend had someone do it. That
Wow.
is, and because every time they went there to the girl's house, no, you can't come in. You can't come in. They wouldn't let her in. They wouldn't let law enforcement in the house.
That's odd.
Yeah, that is very odd. You can't. So that was one of their, deciding moments. I think, hey, something's not right with this. So another sad case right there at Christmas.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? And I think Misty said this as well. Right there at Christmas, every year, that family, that mother, the mother is so sad about it. She keeps up with Misty, as I said. So, every year at Christmas, this is what
have
is
to
on their
relive this.
mind. You got to relive it, exactly, every year. So, hopefully, they are saying that there are people of interest and witnesses are coming forward. So that's what's needed to solve the case. Folks, you are the most important part of normally an investigation. I mean, the public is vital. They're just vital.
They play a pivotal role in
They do.
solving almost every case.
Absolutely. So, they do need your help in this case as well. And this happened, now let's give the area. Do you know where, because I know you live in
Claude
that
Lewis Road,
vicinity.
yes. If you go 231 through Middlesex, go over 264 alternate or old US 264.
Yes.
Over the train tracks, past the police department, you go out of town and you take a left. That is Claude Lewis Road.
Okay. So that's where this took place, folks, in Middlesex, Claude Lewis Road. So anyway, that's another one of our cases. We won't get into another one because it's almost time for us to go, but I do want to thank our sponsors, Statewide Insurance Group. Thank you for the sponsorship, and Barnes Safety and Consulting, of course. Thank you both for being on the show from the get-go and believing in what we do. So don't forget, I'm supposed to say this many times on the show, 406-6736 is the hotline number. Please call it if you know anything at all. It is anonymous. We do pay out up to $15,000. And the money is paid out, I can guarantee you, whatever amount that they decide. So please, it is important that you give some of these families, all these families, the closure that they need to go on with their lives. So
If you know something, please say something.
that's
Please.
right. That's what they say. If you know something, say something. You're right. Well, thank you for being with me, JP.
Thanks for the invitation. I
Yeah.
greatly appreciate it.
Well, I want you to come back.
Yes, ma'am.
It's lonely up here. So anyway, we'll have JP back with us. All right, make it a great day, everybody. This has been the K Files.
Bye-bye.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurance Group, all things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.